I used to be jealous of business owners who came up through accounting or finance. I figured they could see things that I couldn't, that they avoided mistakes I had to make the hard way, that the language of business came naturally to them in a way it was never going to for me. And then one year, I'm sitting at my desk going through our financials and I'm comparing the current year to the prior year, and something just didn't add up. We'd grown revenue by more than 10%, and that should have felt awesome, but we were also significantly less profitable than the year before, so not awesome. I could see the marketing costs had gone up, but not enough to explain the full picture. What had really spiked was labor. We had hired more people to service this new business. Now that made sense, but it still shouldn't have been large enough to put us that far back. So I started asking questions. Turns out that to drive more leads, we'd added new marketing headcount. To buy more leads, our cost per lead had gone up, and to work all those leads, we'd put more people on the phones. When I finally got all the numbers together, I found that on some of our sources, we were spending more than twice the revenue we earned, once you added up the cost of generating the leads, selling it, and servicing the client. Now, it took me weeks to uncover this, and once I did, I realized this was not the first time. We'd gone through several cycles of scaling up and then scaling back, chasing revenue while quietly destroying our margin. Nobody on the team had visibility into the true cost of this incremental growth. And it took me more than a decade to learn that particular lesson. Here's what I've come to believe. A critical and underappreciated skill in business is being able to translate what's happening in your financials into the actions and behaviors that drive those outcomes. Not accounting, not financial modeling, translation. And I'm not talking about becoming a CPA either. CPAs sometimes miss the forest for the trees. I'm talking about learning enough of the language to hear what your business is actually telling you. Now, one of our clients ran a contracting business for a loss for 2 years. He was growing the top line, but he knew he was missing something. And he eventually ended up hiring this consultant who specialized in his industry. Now, it wasn't cheap, and he told me there were days he questioned why he had sunk even more money into his struggling business. But within a quarter, the consultant had helped him turn it around. And what he had found was that many of the jobs they were taking on were losing money. Poor pricing on some, poor assumptions about actual costs on others. The consultant could see it quickly because he already spoke the language, and he didn't get it from a degree, he got it from running his own contracting business. So does that mean the only way to learn this is to own a business and make painful mistakes yourself? That's certainly what I did, but I don't think that's the only answer. The best on-ramp I found is the simplest one. Start keeping a personal budget. Track what comes in, what goes out, and assign every dollar to a category. Then review it at the end of the month. Most people don't do this, and I'd argue it's part of why business financials feel so foreign. A personal budget will force you to connect a decision to an outcome, where the choice you made in January shows up in your February expenses. And that connection between the behavior and the financial result is exactly the skill that running a business is going to require. I didn't build that habit until more than a decade into owning a business. And I'll tell you, I wish I had started before I even owned one. You may already be someone who tracks your personal finances and reviews them regularly. Great. You've already built the foundational muscle. The lifting of the business will probably be meaningfully easier for you because of it. But if you're not, if you're more like I was when I started, you can learn. And it doesn't mean you have to become an accountant or even enjoy bookkeeping. I certainly don't. In fact, I don't even actually do my own expense tracking. I found I was too inconsistent, so I hired someone to do it for me. Could I do it myself? Yes. Will I? No, at least that's what history would say. And is it worth paying someone to make sure it gets done? Absolutely. You don't have to be a numbers person to learn it. You just have to decide it matters. Because the numbers aren't a wall, they're a language. And like any language, the way you learn it is by speaking it, even badly, before you feel ready. Don't quit your daydream, y'all. I'll see you next week. Cheers.